Welcome to JP. Welcome to JP.
JP's to JP.
JP's. I got JP's.
Welcome to JP's TV.
JP's TV, believe it or don't.
To the time, you gonna have to believe it. Damn right. You know I don't play no games around here. Okay, we are back. And excuse me. Welcome to JP TV, believe it or don't. Okay, I am your host, JP the God. Okay, now for those who haven't been here before, let me explain to you just what this platform is all about. This platform is where we share the factual information. Yes, we don't deal with the feelings. We like to go straight into the information and deal with it. Don't resent it. Don't judge it. Just deal with it, okay? Some things were forced on us without us questioning it, okay? From racism to Black entrepreneurs, religious debates. The limits. No, nothing is off limits around here. We just go at it. Okay, JP TV, believe it or don't. I'm glad that you came past and checked us out. While you're here, while I have your attention, I know you like the black and white thing. You see it? It's something different for the channel. I know. I switched it up on you today. Okay, so today. We got a y'all don't want to miss this. I'm telling you, what you want to do right now, you want to send out the invites, the people say, hey, I'm live, check me out. I'm about to say some deep stuff. I'm live. Only thing you need to do is go to JPTV, believe it or don't, on YouTube. It'll pop up right there. It'll pop up right away. Okay. Yes, indeed. Kiki, thank you for joining me. Yes, indeed. Love you here, honey. All right. So, with that being said, I told you about the show. I told you about the show, and I got my man Joe in the house. You dig what I'm saying? I got a couple of my good peoples in here. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to break the ice today, okay? We're going to get knee deep in the information and into the minds of the people. And not just our people. Well, could it be our people too? Cool.
Always in a good mood. Hear me and believe. Hold on for a second, dog. I got a sample for you. Take two, hit my phone back. Man, do what you do. So she's telling me I should get the...
All right. So moving on along. Let me bring my people in today. Let me bring my boy in today, okay? Let me introduce you to the panel. Boo! We got the homie Austin in the building, baby.
What's good, JP?
Man, what's happening, man? Glad you came.
How you feeling tonight, man?
I am doing wonderful, man. I'm glad you came through today. We, you and I know each other, and got some great relationship together. We homies. You know what I'm saying? We here. You know what I'm saying? Him and I, you and me. Okay. Go ahead and let the people know your name and stuff like that, and let them know how you and I connected, I guess.
First name Austin, 29 years old, born and raised Houston, Texas. Live in Washington, D.C. right now. See JP at the gym. He's my motivation right there, man. Seeing him on the punching bag, man. Don't want to cross him don't want to cross JP. That's all I say right there.
Yeah, that's right. You would want to be on my side. Okay. And I got another brother in here. I wanted both of y'all to go. I was going to play some clips real quick, and I wanted to get your perspective on it and your honest opinion. Because what we're going to do for the whites and for the blacks, we want them to be as honest as they can. What's up, baby? How you doing? I'm glad you're coming in today. You don't want to miss it. Make sure y'all share, comment, like this video because it does helps out the channel. It helps out the channel. So take your time, all 5 of y'all motherfuckers on here right now. Go ahead and click that button, the one that looks like this, because I know some of y'all black and slow, and I know some of y'all get confused and stuff like that. Oh, I ain't asked you for no money. Just click the button, okay? It helps it out. Make sure you subscribe as well, okay? We about to get knee deep into the conversation right now. Let me play this first clip. Joe will be here soon. We up here waiting for him to come back. He will be here soon, okay? So we're gonna play this first clip. See what you think about this.
Barack Obama cannot take our rights away from us. The black political machine is wanting to take away your monuments. Dig him up and move him. But it'll never happen. It'll never happen in America. Because we will stand tall for Nathan Bedford Forrest. And another thing. Next time I get out at the gas station and I'm pumping my gas, I don't want to hear your Little John and your 666 and your bohemian, I don't know what music. You live over in Africa where it came from.
So let me get your perspective on it, then I'll bring a black in and let him get his perspective. But you know what? Hold on. I may switch this up a little bit. Okay, Hold on, stay right there for a minute. I may switch this up a little bit. Okay, let me go ahead and bring in the great. I mean, this boy, this is my man. He is sharp. Okay, I mean sharp. He's black. I'm gonna bring him up, and I want the whites to rebuttal off what he's saying or what he think he know about this. Khufu the Great. Khufu, what do you think about that? I mean, you and I are not Obama fans anyway. So is he kind of right? I mean, he is telling the truth, right? He didn't take the whites away. I mean, their rights away, right?
Who, Obama?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He said that he didn't take our rights away.
Well, I don't know. They were kind of right about that. They just, I mean, like, people don't read. You know what I mean? They don't know which rights they got taken away. So he's kind of right in a way, but I don't know what specific rights he's talking about. But if you're talking about the rights that I know he took away, like your privacy rights, some of your privacy rights, well, he's kind of right then.
Let's roll another clip.
It's because I am tired of all of the blacks and all of the Mexicans think that they own America.
So what's your perspective on that about him saying that in the blacks and the Hispanics trying to take over America? Are the blacks trying to take over America?
No, I mean, we've been here. There's no takeover coming. I mean, if anything, we're being taken over, if anything. But nah, we want to try to take over America.
So
I don't know what he's talking about. Like the Mexicans, I don't like how are they trying to take over.
So it could be just something rhetoric. That could be some rhetoric, right?
Yeah, that's what I think it probably is.
Okay. Now let me bring. Hold on. Ooh. Okay. This
I'm back
right here, man. Joe is in the building, man. I'm glad you came. Man.
I would like to apologize. I had some major technical difficulties there. The iPad, I think, just absolutely shit the bed. So I'm back on the laptop now. We should be good to go.
All right. That's all good. Right. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming through on JPTV. Believe it or don't, man. And he is a subscriber. So hint for the people that's out there in YouTube land, subscribe to this channel. It really helps it out. Really appreciate it. The people on Facebook and wherever y'all at tuning in, please like this video. All right. So let's go ahead and did you see the clips that I was playing? The people.
Yeah, I saw a dude at like a barbecue talking about how he was tired of Mexicans and black people taking over America.
Yeah.
Is that what I saw?
Is black people in Mexicans trying to take over America?
I don't think that dude's ever met a black person or a Mexican, to be quite honest. But and so his opinion is what it is. But my opinion, no, I don't think so.
Let me bring your cousin in. So, what about you, Austin?
Man, it was
him trying to say that
one.
the blacks are taking over America and the Mexicans. Where could he get that from?
Man, they live in this their own bubble, and they resonate with their own bubble. The no outside thinking. You know, the blacks earned their spot in this country back in 1776. As far as I'm concerned, Atticus Fitkus, they're the first black men to die at the Boston massacre. First, I mean, they've earned their spot. I don't know what that means. Taking over America. What does that even mean? Is that it's garbage. I don't know what that means. It's just this rhetoric that open-ended. I don't know what it means. It's I don't know.
You know what?
Well, I'd be willing to bet that if you asked him the same question, he'd be as hard pressed to answer the question as you are right now. We can't even speculate what that means. I can tell you this. I can tell you that people are trying to get into the United States from every country. It's a great country. People are trying to get here. They're not trying to leave, right? So if he seems to think whoever it is, they seem to think that whatever group of people's trying to get here, Mexico's on the southern border, sure. You got a lot of countries, that border us as well. I mean, they're trying to get here. It's a great country. I can't blame them. But trying to take over the country, it just seems to me like the guy probably needs to get out of his comfort zone a little bit more and try to move around a little bit and see the world.
It's kind of interesting because I kind of I may agree on what he's saying. Take a stab at this, right? Okay, most of the states are run by blacks, you know what I'm saying? And they're all destroying those states. And you know what I'm saying, they're not taking care of the community. So could he be possibly talking about that, Kufu? Could he possibly talking about that? How the Mexicans are coming in here, getting everything, getting all the benefits.
So, I mean, here's the problem with that. So, for the United States, we are a system of laws, right? So, from my understanding of the law is if you're an illegal immigrant, doesn't matter what country you're from, if you're an illegal immigrant and you come here illegally, you get deported back to your country of origin. That's the law, as far as I know. I don't think it's changed so far. I mean, they may have little, loopholes, but as far as I know, if you get caught here illegally, you get shipped back to your country of origin. So when you have a whole bunch of people illegally coming into the country, and then now they're I guess partaking in the same benefits that you're getting as a legal citizen, well, then it's not really fair. Like you came here illegally, and then you want the same stuff that I got, but we have a legal way of getting here, but you just bypass that for whatever reason. Yeah. I mean, no other country can. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not really fair to other countries or other people who come here illegally, who whatever they're going on in their country, they still want to come here illegally and be here. You can't just say, okay, well, you just came here illegally, well, just come on. It's not really fair if you think about it.
I agree with that.
Okay, I agree with that. And let's roll another clip. So I want to get your honest opinion on this, okay? Honest opinion.
Ku Klux was formed. They created it as a social club to start with. Tennessee at that time was ruled by just a tyrannical carpetbag governor, and he had tripled the taxes, and so these ex-Confederates thought that they had better do something about it. So they dressed up in sheets and curtains one night and ran him out of town. And they restored law and order to Pulaski, Tennessee. Well, this caught on, and the next town did the same thing. They were also protecting the white and black farmers who were losing their land. So it wasn't an anti-black thing whatsoever in the 1860s.
Didn't know that.
So that's a little bit of history. They were saying that in the 1860s, you know, when the Klan was first developed, it wasn't against blacks. You know what I'm saying? It was about some other shit fighting some white motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with black people. So it turned it into that because you had other people that were hateful and had hate in their heart and turned it into what you call a racist terrorist group. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I want you all to give me the definition of white privilege. What is Kufu? What is white privilege? And before you go, I have another guest, King. I'm gonna bring him in. We do so much things together. You also see him on KNYN. King, not your nigga. Queen, not your bitch. You gotta check him out as well. Please subscribe to his channel. Let me bring him in. Oh yeah.
What's up? What's up, P?
All right, King is in the building. Okay, so let me put the whites in the back. Okay, so for this, I want to know what is white privilege?
White privilege. If I had to define white privilege, it's for an example, you being put on a higher scale just because of the color of your fucking skin. You know what I'm saying? So it does exist, you know what I'm saying, no matter how bad you know don't want to look at it, but it does exist. You know, even for whites that don't want to feed into it, you still get better privileges sometimes because of the color of your fucking skin. So that's how I would define it. What about you, Kufu?
Yeah, I probably would agree with that. And it's just so to the point where it's so unconscious now that you know it is up to us to point it out. You know what I mean? But when we do, it's like, do you want to listen to it? Are you seeing what we're seeing? You know what I mean? Like if you went on the other side and somebody had their like this, but we're still pointing, you know, this is still happening. It's like, do you see it at least if you can't hear it?
Give me one example of a white privilege that you've experienced or noticed.
I mean, just simple. Okay, you can even for looking for a house right now. You know what I mean? Just it's harder. Well, they say it's harder. They kind of redline you to or trying to curtail you to a certain area. So you houses in a certain area versus the houses that you probably want. You know what I mean? That's one way you can do it, like redlining and all that. I mean, it's not as obvious as you would think it is. You know what I mean?
How with that example, how would they know by looking at a piece of paper that this man is white and you're black and select you over them?
What do you mean? You mean like name?
Your house when your house. I'm saying when you're house shopping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you saying that the white dude probably got a higher chance for him getting the house than you do, right?
Yeah, or that, or just getting credit cards. You know what I mean? Depending on where you live, you can get a higher credit limit. You know what I mean? Like you live in an urban neighborhood, quote unquote, you may get like a $500 credit limit versus you live in like Georgetown somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They're going to automatically give you like a $3,000 to $5,000 credit limit just because of where you live.
I mean, me per se, like personally, I'm gonna start with saying I know it exists because I read. You know what I'm saying? I got grandmothers and shit. You know what I'm saying? So to hear stories and what the fuck they had to endure. But me personally, I've never experienced white privilege myself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just because of what type of person I am. I don't give a fuck about you thinking about the white black thing. I don't really see that. I know you're white and I know I'm black, but I don't look at myself any less than, or I don't look at the white man more superior than I am. So I never really had that mindset of the white man. Like I can give a flying fuck what you do. So I don't know.
So white privilege. Sorry to bust you guys' bubble, but it does not exist. White privilege does not exist.
Why would what would be your example of? I mean, explain that.
I don't even have an example because
let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question. So if white privilege doesn't exist, so back in the 60s and 50s, etc., right?
Mhm.
They had signs that said whites only, but signs that said blacks only.
Okay, once you ask a white.
Yeah, I mean Jim Crow laws were in existence. That was true. Absolutely. I mean that I think that's the white privilege that if I was to ask to define it today, that's how I would sort of envision it. But like the sort of more ambiguous ones, where it's more general. I haven't necessarily felt that I've experienced it, and maybe I have, and I didn't know. Who knows? I've been pulled over, and rarely do I get out of a ticket. That's just me. Rarely. You know, I've been booted out of school for bad grades. I've been denied credit cards for most of my life for bad credit, and now I have good credit because of my choices. You know, I have good credit now. I could have made a million bad decisions as I was when I was a younger guy. And as I started growing and maturing, I realized, hey, I got to make some better choices. And along the way, I rejoined the military. I tried out for special forces. I ended up making it. And with me in my special forces class, I had Asian guys, I had black guys, I had Latin guys, all types of people. And nobody, I'm going to tell you this, and I'll tell you this is quite honest. Nobody gets any privilege, no matter the level of tan on your skin. You do not get a privilege. You either meet the standards or you don't. We're looking for the right people. And maybe that's a privilege in itself to have been a part of a community like that for so long, to be maybe sheltered from the rest of what society's seeing. But I really enjoyed it, and it sort of shaped who I am today. And I can tell you this: when I walk down the street, I look at people and I say, "You're my friend until you prove me otherwise, no matter what you look like." And I was talking to JP in the gym the other day too. Not to get off on a tangent on this, but it's really important, man. You can't tell about people. You don't know who they. Yeah, exactly. You don't know who they are until you talk to them, no matter what they look like. They may look like the most hardcore anti-person that you are, right? The whitest, dorkiest, stuck up, been from the suburbs whole life. But when you talk to them, you realize that's not the case, and it might be 100% opposite. I've been shocked so many times in my life that I realize now that it's really true. People are they're good people. And when you walk down the street, everyone's your friend, and they'll prove you otherwise, and you can tell sooner or later. But we're all United States of America citizens here. That's number one.
Let me bring another white in to ask his perspective. Austin, tell me, have you ever used white supremacy?
White privilege?
Well, yeah, white privilege. Have you ever used white privilege?
Yeah. If I use it, I'm still a young man, so it's hard for me to say. As Joe put it, it's hard to even know if I was even given a privilege or it. But I've been pulled over by police and got off with warnings. Probably the times where I should have gotten tickets or arrested, but they gave me warnings. Maybe that was an example. It's hard to say in America, because everything is so gray. But when I've lived abroad in India and Asia, I see it a lot more. As a white American man, they assume that you have money. They approach you quicker. Compared to the black students that were in our travel group. Had a much different experience. They were black Muslim students wearing hijab. They had a much different experience than me as a white American man. So I'd say internationally, I think it's a different topic. But in America, I guess
we're having some type of connection issues, guys. I don't know what it is.
I'm glad it's not just on my end this time.
Yeah, it is really choppy. Let me see. Austin, you on your hold on, let me see something.
Yeah, it's on Austin's man.
It's on Austin Jones.
Yeah.
Kufu.
Mm-hmm.
Joe.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so that was the KKK. Kufu, would you what would you classify them, the KKK?
I mean, a hate group.
And you should say that they're totally against the blacks and the Mexicans, right?
I think they're just anything that is not like pro-white.
Okay, somebody taking out the trash. Who taking out the trash?
Oh, who's taking out the trash?
Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, that's Val. She's over here dumping out some stuff. I'm sorry. She was trying to wave at everybody over here. I'm like, don't distract us right now. We're having a deep.
What's happening? That's my friend.
Yeah.
What's up? Let's roll another clip. Watch this soundbite.
Radio Shack, Chop, Starbucks. But why is it that we don't own this stuff? You know why? Because you all are a bunch of devils.
I will say that I am not an evil person.
I will say that I beg to differ. You are an evil person because of the crime that your people have committed in the past, and you never paid for your crimes, and that the crimes that your people commit today.
So, would that be a hate group as well?
That is a hate group. That's not just regular black people. What's those Israelites?
Yeah.
What about the Israelites? Yeah. So, but you hear what he said, though. You see what he's blaming. He's blaming someone that wasn't even around when he was around. You know, it's like I'm walking up to you and say, you know what? Your grandfather owed my grandfather $100, and I need that now. You know, that's just,
with interest. So I want that with interest, right?
Yeah, I want that with interest. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you have a grown man saying that another man has more privilege than him when you have the same drive as him? Kufu.
Well, I mean, I guess one way he's looking at it, I mean, is history, I guess. You know what I mean? So, for instance, if you look at Aetna, right? Aetna, I'm assuming, has a white CEO at the very top of the Aetna Corporation. That's for health insurance, right? So, if you say, all right, well, that's a white guy at the very top of the corporation who got billions of dollars. You know what I mean? And he probably employed whoever he needed to employ to keep, that supremacy there, if you want to call it that, that certain people can't get a past a certain level. So if you want to look at how did Aetna start? Most people don't know that Aetna insured slave ships, right? So if you look at it like that, well, they are kind of benefiting from our enslavement.
Well, let me ask you that then. Do you think that we should get reparations?
Should we get reparations?
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta change that word after a while, man. It's gotta be something else called. I mean, it's gotta be something different. I mean, we're owed something a lot. We're owed a lot. I mean, reparations is one thing you want to call it, but yeah, we're owed a lot.
What makes you think that you're owed a lot?
Would you work for free? There you go. Would you work for free? That's all I gotta say. Ask any man or woman on this planet. Ask any man or woman on this planet, right? Would they ever work for free for the rest of their life? And I guarantee you they'll say no.
So, but they were well taken care of. They didn't have to want for anything. Families were taken care of, even in the Jim Crow era. Families were taken care of.
What do you mean? Who's taking care of these families? What do you mean?
They are.
Who's they are?
In slavery days.
You talking about
the master? It wasn't like that. The master was taking care of those black people.
And how you figure that?
Let's roll a soundbite. Nah, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I wanted to get on that one too.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I wanted to get on that one too. So, the slave masters were taking care of those people, you know, talking to people and just.
I mean, it's no different from a farmer taking care of his horse that plows the field.
You have to take care of your product. So it's not like you're going to damage your product because it'll hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, you know, I mean, would you hurt your product that you guys sell? Nah, you're gonna take care of it. You're gonna give it its best.
But you're not gonna give it freedom though.
Let's bring a white in.
Okay.
Austin. Let me ask you, right? Working for free, I know we won't. I know people would agree with that. That you would be owed something if you did work for free. But your family was very taken care of. But you hear a lot of blacks, especially race hustlers, asking for reparations, that they deserve reparations. I mean, it's out there. You can ask any black, they would say, yes, we need, something owed to us. Now, even though the blacks weren't only in slavery, in reparations, they would probably have to give out a lot of money to different demographics of groups, you know what I'm saying, including some whites. How do you feel about the blacks asking for reparations? I mean, do they deserve it?
In this question, does it also include blacks that have recently come from Nigeria? How would you divvy that up between African Americans whose ancestors were enslaved and then Africans that just came here from Nigeria a year ago? Do they get a check too?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I mean they're both black. They both answer the same. They both face the same challenges in America. But it's a Nigerian American who came here a year ago, get a reparations check.
And Kufu is actually from Nigeria.
I'm actually from Nigeria.
He's actually from Nigeria.
All right.
So here's the thing: slavery didn't start here in America, right? It didn't start in America.
Right.
It was a gradual process that ended in eventual enslavement for the Africans and wherever they were going across the globe. So when you say, okay, well, do Nigerians deserve reparations? Well, America came to Nigeria and took slaves. I mean, they had a system set up in Nigeria to capture people to take them to America to become slaves. So when you say, do the Nigerians deserve them? Well, yeah, they do, because whatever system that you set up there, we still have. Like, we still have the system from America and the British. So that also changed our culture, it changed our language, it changed our way of thinking. So you've colonized us. So when you say colonization, well, that's what America, the French, Portuguese, the Germans tried to do at one point. They chopped Africa up. So when technically all of Europe, or all of those who partook in slavery should partake in some kind of reparations. So for instance, the Jews got reparations. They say 3 million Jews died under Hitler. That's only 3 million.
Yeah.
Not even just coming over, just being captured over there, millions died. Just getting over here, millions died, and just getting here, millions died. So it's like, okay, when do we get something at this point? Like, I think a little bit more over 3 million of us died just being captured over in Africa before we got transported over the sea. Which, I mean, you dump the captains or whoever. I mean, we were seen as property. You know what I mean? So if they didn't have enough food on the ship to feed the property, some of them would have to be dumped over. You know what I mean? Or it was a time where, well, you didn't want to get caught. Well, slavery was outlawed. And if you didn't want to get caught with the slaves, well, you dumped all your slaves overboard. You didn't get caught. I mean, we were just seen as cargo. So it's a whole worldwide thing that everybody should be partaking in, just not America. So
have you ever heard of chopping it up, taking it as a loss? What about that?
Graphic.
I mean, it's not really a loss if you think about it. It's just, I mean, it's just doing what was right. It's not really a loss. We're all going to share in the whole profits of the world anyway. I mean, we're all on the fucking planet together. You know what I mean? It's not like we're all.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about the race hustlers putting that out into young people's minds that they need reparations when you can go open doors for yourself, literally?
I mean,
how do you feel about them?
Like I said, it depends on what you mean by reparations. Like, you just can't just say, okay, we need reparations. What the hell does that mean? You just want money in your pocket? That's not reparations.
Well, I mean, the blacks got affirmative action.
That's not I mean, you can attribute that to some part of reparations, but that's not a plan of reparation. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not just America. That needs to be a global effort because slaves went to Brazil, the Caribbean. You know what I mean? Europe. I mean, they went all over. They even went to China. You know what I mean? Like
I think by the numbers, there were more European slaves in North Africa after we freed the slaves in the United States up until just about 100 years ago from the Balkans. In fact, I think that's where the first slave came from, Slav, which mostly were European on European slavery for the last 11,000 years. So it's funny too, because American slavery, I think, is the first time in world history where race became an actual issue in slavery, because typically it was same race on same race slavery. So Europeans were enslaving Europeans, Arabs also enslaved a lot of Baltic and Slavic Europeans over to North Africa. But when we came over here, we have record upon record upon record of Native Americans, which a lot of Comanche, Apache, Ojibwe, enslaving all other tribes. So slavery has been, since we know it, the last 11,000 years as recorded history, been a real thing in the world and commonplace. And they say, I think Thomas Sowell said that there isn't a country that's in a first world or in any first world nation out there, their people haven't been enslaved at some point by the mass millions. And what gets overlooked, and what really gets me these days is what's overlooked is about the United States in the West is we are the only country that fought a civil war and actually fought a bloody conflict with ourselves over slavery. In part, there were other parts to it, but at the same time, we did free slaves. We were the only country in the only westernized, modernized world to do anything of that aspect with slavery. And that doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. And I'm not saying that diminishes any of the rest of it that goes on after that, but that piece needs to have some sort of credit attached to it. Nobody else did that. They just kind of still did it. Like in the Arab world, they're still enslaving Filipinos in the UAE right now.
And in addition to that, the blacks always blaming it on the whites when the Arabs had infiltrated it first.
Yeah, well, you guys were the last people to be slaves here. We've all been slaves at some point. Every race and ethnicity has been a slave at some point. Mm-hmm. You guys were the last people to be slaves here. But what we need to celebrate is we ended it with 300,000 American civilians dead, and we stopped it. And of course, it's like a train going downhill. It's like got a lot of inertia. You can't put the brakes on and expect it to stop immediately and everything to just go to hunky-dory, whatever you call it, right? Nothing's going to be normal. It's going to take a long time and generations for that to happen because we have rules, we have roots in these systems of power and everything else that, and plus it's just the way people think. The way people think, you need to switch that over time. It can't take a week, it can't take a year, it probably can take 50 years or something like that, but In fact, if the United States can start being looked at more of the model, we get together, like what we're doing right now, having a conversation with each other, whether or not you like me, it doesn't matter. I want to talk to you. You're my brother. You're a United States citizen. Me and you are Americans. Like, we need to be leading the world in being the best at everything we can do, and that's being human beings with each other, talking to each other, innovation, prosperity. You know, we need to thrive, all that stuff. We can do it. We need to stop. I go off on a tangent.
No, you're right. No, I agree with you on that.
I believe that, like how you said, it's not enough people. I can only speak for the Black community. You know what I'm saying? I ain't white, but it's not enough people with platforms or with the world right now is very influential. Our community, you know, it's not enough people with platforms or these followers promoting this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? They still promoting, we want our reparations, or it's the white man. So that's why it's still, you don't got people out there talking about this type of shit. Go get it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing stopping you. You know, we don't got enough people of the Black race saying that. You know what I'm saying? They promote Beyonce, Jay-Z and shit like that. That's the only way you can get your money. That's the only way that you'll be able to live this lavish lifestyle. That's what's promoted to our people. So that's why it's like that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We need more. We just need more of this. We need more, like Joe, like you just said. We need more shit like this. You know?
I know the markets, man. We got to make money. The markets don't care what color your skin is. You can get on the markets. And I learned over coronavirus when we were locked down last year how to make money in the Forex market. I sat and learned. Yep. And I learned, the dudes that I learned from were all Black, all of them. And they knew what was up. And I'll tell you, it's inspirational to me. Like, I love being American. I really do. When we put our minds together, I'm sorry. I know why they're scared of us. I know.
Hey, Joe, let me tell you something. What was so crazy when I started my platform, King Not Your Nigga, Queen Not Your Bitch, you know, it was for the Black community. It still is, you know. But what's so crazy, when I first started my platform, none of my community invested in me. It took a white motherfucker to say, man, I like what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And say, you got to keep this going. You know what I'm saying? And wanted to, like, take interest in me. You know? So that right there opened my mind up, you know what I'm saying, to a wider. Because before then, I didn't even think, you know, it was pro-Black this, pro-Black that, you know. And when that happened, it really enlightened me. That's what
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Like, this is a question I kind of wanted to ask, I guess, a white person for a long time. Anchor babies. What do you feel about anchor babies?
What's an anchor baby?
My bad. Kufu, before you go in there, that's what I was about to introduce. Okay.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
I got you. I love my white friends. I tell you, we're gonna get right into that. I want you to ask a white person that you always wanted to ask, and I want the white to ask the Black something that they always wanted to ask. Okay. Right after this clip. Enjoy.
Oh, we live.
Okay, so these are the instructions, right? This is $50 on the line, okay? $100, okay?
C-note.
$100. A whole C-note, right? You got to hit the baloney and touch baloney. Hit baloney, touch baloney.
Hit baloney, touch baloney.
So,
one shot.
And then I got to touch it?
Here we go.
She keep asking me for instructions.
Ew. Hit it and touch it.
Right, I said do what now? I said, what was the instructions?
You said hit it and touch it.
This is it right here, everyone. This is it. Okay, got the dart.
If you fucking
see the baloney.
To the baloney.
All right, hit baloney, touch baloney.
No, get out of here.
You lost.
It's like a dad joke.
She lost $100, by the way, and like I said, man, I put the money up. I was gonna put 200 up, and she still lost it. Okay, well, I know y'all like my shirt. If y'all want to get some of this merch, please DM me at Brother JP Fitness 7. Man, we can get it right in, man. Racism don't exist shirts. Wear it proud. Don't be afraid. Stand up for what's right. It don't matter if you're Black or white. Okay, with that being said, this is what I want next, right? I'm gonna bring a black up. Now, this never happened before. This has never happened before. A white asking a black what they wanted to ask. A black what they wanted the white ask another ask. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. All right. And you can only get this exclusively on JPTV. Believe it or don't, most of the time, you're going to have to believe it. Okay. Now, let's bring it in. Now, we're going to bring a black in first. Okay. We're going to bring a black in first. Boop. All right. Kufu.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and let the people know the question that you always wanted to ask a white person.
I want to know how do they feel about anchor babies?
Say that again.
I want to know how do they feel about anchor babies?
Anchor babies. Okay, explain to the people what that is for the black and slow and black.
It's an illegal alien that comes over here and has the child. Now that child's becoming a United States citizen, but their parents are still an illegal immigrant.
Okay, Austin, you want to take that? Okay. How you feel about that? Did you hear the question?
Yeah, Kufu, it's a good question, man. It's a good loophole for illegal immigrants to get their citizenship. It's not fair. Especially to the Nigerians like you who have to travel all this way and come here illegally. You can't, get here. I don't even know how you Nigerian would get here illegally and have a baby. And
exactly,
it's a loophole that really helps out the immigrants south of the border, the Texas border, and I'm not a fan. I'd actually like to ask Joe too how he would feel about if the United States had a military service where if you serve in the U.S. military for 4 or 5 years, you get your citizenship. I'd be in favor of that.
That might work.
Something like how the French do. The French Foreign Legion, isn't that how they do it?
Right, yeah, they do the same thing.
They do the same thing. I mean, it just seems like a loophole. I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't like it. That's why most of them come here. I'm sorry to say, but that's probably why most of them come here.
Let's bring Joe in to get his perspective. Joe, how do you feel about that?
I agree. I don't know if the United States is the country that should necessarily require a selective service or military service like that. I think a volunteer military for us is adequate, but I like the fact of civil service because if you contribute to the country, you should be shown some gratitude for that versus just breaking laws and coming over here and exploiting loopholes, which is too easy for us to do as of late. It's too easy for people to do that. A real quick case in point is the asylum rule, right? So the asylum rule that we've had on the books for the longest time now just basically says that if you show up at our border, north or south, and you say asylum, I'm here to seek asylum, that we have to give you a court date for that. So that you'll be issued a court date as like, say, you need to appear for court, and then no one appears for it, right? That's just, and then you disappear into the United States. We don't hold you, we don't send you back. So everyone that shows up, whether you're from Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, it doesn't matter, Mexico, you say, hey, asylum, and then you're in the United States. So one of the policies that I really agreed with in the Trump administration was he said, look, if you're going to apply for asylum, then you apply for asylum in the first country you go to. You don't get to shop around for the best country you want to. So if you're from Nicaragua, then you have to apply for asylum in the next country up. If you're from Mexico, you can apply because you're looking for safety. You're fleeing you're fleeing violence or something, right? Your safety. That's the next country up. It's not you come all the way to the U.S. and apply for asylum here. So the only people that could apply for asylum are Mexican citizens, right?
And
so we had a.
And just not to cut you off, that was the greatest president ever, the great white hope, Donald J. Trump. The best ever, hands down, and they can't deny it. He did what he was supposed to do and did what he wanted to do. True alpha male. And that's how we do
I have to agree with you.
He's a boss, man. So the thing about Donald Trump, and I don't know why people said that he's a racist. I disagree with that 100%.
They don't want to show the full clips in its entirety of a context. If they show those full clips, he's actually telling a KKK, like, you know, I mean, it just.
But he sent the people out on January 6th to attack the Capitol, though.
No, he didn't.
Oh yeah, come on now. Yeah, we know better than that. Man. You know, one of my heroes growing up, Herschel Walker. Man, I love Herschel Walker. Meant everything to me growing up. I read his book when I was a kid. When I grew up in Minnesota, then I moved to Texas. He went from, or sorry, the other way around. I went from Texas to Minnesota. He went from the Cowboys to the Vikings, so I followed him up there. Oh. Everything, right? So, and he apparently has been a friend with Donald Trump for a very long time, like since the 80s. Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, my family has been hanging out. My black family has been hanging out with Donald Trump and his white family going to Disney World and whatnot since the 80s. And if this dude's a racist, boy, he's doing a pretty good job hiding it because I didn't see that, you know?
Yeah, man. Like,
he's a United States first. He's an America first, right, which is what you are and I am. And all of us are. We you know, I love the world, but this is my country. And why should we pay a ton more? If your neighbor across the hallway is paying $400 in rent for the same place you have to pay $3,000 for, you're going to say that's a bad deal. He came into office and said, no, WHO is a bad deal. The UN's a bad deal for us. Right. We need to pay the same or they need to step up, one of the two, or
and they were doing
them money. Yeah. Right. And now all of a sudden, hey, we're back to normal. It's back to let's pay some more. Right. So your taxes are going up. Everything else is going up.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I agree with JP. He was a wonderful president for us in that respect. I think as far as the headaches go with everybody on a day-to-day basis with the media and everything else, if you don't actually look into it, then you're going to not like the guy because, boy, you know, he is causing you so much pain. Everybody says this about him and that about him, and they can't say enough bad things about him. But that's why I quit TV. I quit TV.
Yeah, well, I tell you this, I'm voting him back in if he running again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing is that I don't think people realize like the Republican Party is not a white party that you know, so
right.
It isn't. And so there are more people that are black people that voted for Trump than people give him credit for.
Thank you.
It's like I don't understand how they can just put everybody in a tiny little box and say, oh, you need to think this way or you need to think that way based on the community that you came from or what you identify with. Like
propaganda.
It is propaganda. And you know, I think that people are over that shit. I really think.
And think about propaganda, like one of the Nazis guys used to use. He used to say, if you say a lie loud enough and long enough, you'll get the people to believe it. And that's just how with racism, because it really don't exist. Especially now, I can see how it was segregated back in the days, and it was like this. You had some evil people, but it's all about good and evil, right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's really about. And like I said, you can get these shirts from KNYN. Okay. Racism don't exist. You can hit me up at Brother JP Fitness. You know what I'm saying? We get them shirts made for you. We got the merch on deck. You know what I'm saying? So
no, JP, I got a question. I want to ask my question before you end.
No, I ain't ending it. Go ahead.
Oh, I want. So look, do y'all listen to hip hop, Joe, Austin?
Yeah, I listen to hip hop. I'm not an expert.
Hold on. That ain't my initial question. So when the songs come on and the nigga word come up, do you say it or do you skip it?
Depends on whom around.
That's
how much I've been drinking.
That's real.
Honestly, it depends. It depends.
I guess you. Yeah.
I believe to say I see it all the time. I see it.
So I too, because it turns up like nothing else, right? It's the lyric that makes it work, right? And I get it. It's the lyric that makes it work, but like I need to know who's around because I don't want to deal with that. You know,
it depends on that person, how he gonna take it, how that black person gonna take it. You know. Yeah. So I agree.
It's awkward, man. It's awkward a lot of times because
Austin, you say loud as shit. What about you? How you say it, Austin?
Man, I try not to say it in private because I know it's a song I like, and I'm going to say it in public. So I try not to do it at all because I know I'm going to do it in public by accident, and it's going to slip, and then I just. But yeah,
that's the best question yet. I love it.
That was dope.
I try to say
heavy hitter.
I really appreciate y'all for taking this time to come out.
So one of these days.
Oh man.
So look. Before we close, right? I want to give the whites a chance to ask the blacks something that they always wanted to ask the blacks, and don't have it be. Look, I want to have one too, like. Why white people smile so goddamn much, or the white people probably got for the blacks.
Dopamine.
Why you have your pants hanging down your ass all the time? You know what I'm saying? Ask them something that you always wanted to ask the blacks.
Austin, you want to go?
I'm always concerned about Chirac, black on black violence. I think more needs to be done. I think that BLM needs to do more about that. I mean, you have a higher violence rate in South Chicago than you do Iraq. That's why they call it Chirac. And Baltimore is very violent. Chicago is one of the most violent cities right now. And I feel that's what BLM should be focusing on, is trying to improve those communities. It's just kind of swept under the rug by all these Jesse Jackson, I wish they would talk about that. I know on the local level, they try, but it needs to be a national effort to combat this black on black violence. It's really, the rates are just really bad, man. You can just Google Chicago violence last weekend. It's a crazy number, 50 people shot, and I'm just, geez, man, we got to figure out how we can. And then Illinois has some of the strictest gun laws, so it's not an answer of more gun laws. It's how do we get the guns away from these criminals, and then we already have incarceration problems and criminal reform issues. So it's a whole mess of how we, and it does go back to the father absence and gangs, and the gangs providing a father figure for these young black youth in South Chicago. Is that the issue? Is it the drug trade and how the demand for drugs in this country is just off the skyrocketing? I mean, is it that? Is it non-marital birth rates that is causing gang violence and drug trade violence? It's just, I feel that is the biggest problem in the black communities. Just the gun violence, the gang violence, man. And South Chicago is crazy. Baltimore is crazy. East St. Louis, Oakland, New Orleans, all these cities where it's just, I mean, I think that's the biggest issue. But we also could talk about the police in these cities could also be corrupt, and there's issues with the police, how the police treat the communities, and the communities don't trust the police department. I mean, I've watched The Wire, so it's a very, very complex issue. It's not all just black and white,
So yeah, I get what you're saying. I had to put you on mute real quick, kind of choppy for a minute, but he said some great things. Basically, the rates of it, because we only make up 13% of the population, so and the numbers are very disproportionately, like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't even be like that. You know what I'm saying? So what do you say about the black on black crime? That black on black crime is they did more killing on black crime than the KKK did on the blacks.
Yeah, I agree. I can't agree to that. It's crazy because it's like you can look at it two different ways, P. Blacks, we tend to be emotional. Like we could say, oh, when the white cop do police brutality, or when something like that happened, we put that on the forefront. But as much as the shit happening in our own community, we don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying? It's not put out that. It's not put out like how it's supposed to be. And then on the other realm, P, it's like a lot of people, you just feel sorry for, because you got a lot of kids who, like Austin said, who grew up, don't have a father, barely a mama, you know, so they grew up with and never even had a chance to like even try to make a difference. You see what I'm saying? Like me per se, I grew up fucked up, the typical story. And here I'm 30, 32 and own my own business. I made it out because I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? But some kids in our community don't even get the chance, P. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. Don't even get the chance. They don't know no better. You know, it's different from growing up in different environments. Some kids actually growing up not even knowing that this is what you're supposed to do. Like this is right or this is wrong. Literally don't know that, was never taught that. The only example they have of somebody in power is the drug man on the corner, because every time he come outside, he giving them $1. You know what I'm saying? He look fresh and he look good. So that's the only man I got to look up to. I don't got no daddy. You know, so it's fucked up for a lot of people, you know, so it can go both ways, man. That's like a touchy topic. That can go on forever. That's a whole nother show, you know?
That's a good point. And that's a good point. That's a great point. And as the graph that I put up right here, as you can see, we wasn't even on the grid at all until the 1970s. So we have to figure out what happened in the 1970s that made us just rise to the occasion of everyone.
Well, let me put it to you like this: high school. So that's when, like during that time, is when they started taking all the vocational schools out of the high schools. So you know, back then, like most black people didn't really. We worked with our hands. You know what I mean? So you take all of your, you know, wood shop class, your homemade class out of high schools. Now, when they get to, you know, out of college, and then they're with our parents at that age, those people that around the 60s and 70s, they're our parents at that age, so they don't have any skills to support themselves when they get out. So if they don't go to college or they don't have money to go to college, what else is there? Drugs. You know what I mean? You can't really, you don't have the skills to get a job, or you don't have the knowledge to get a job to make enough to support yourself. Well, you know, but you got drugs.
That wasn't for every black though. So some blacks made it though.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying that, but
some of them stayed away from the drugs and did what they supposed to do to survive. So so they just, some fell for the cookie, some didn't. And just another point before we close out, guys. Just another point I would like to add, as far as falling for the cookie, and then it crumbles when it gets in your hands. Yeah, it crumbles up. Let me tell you a story. Now, everyone remember Rosa Parks, right? Oh yeah, the lady that was on the bus. Yeah, she actually Kufu, you remember her, right? Hold up. I'm gonna make this real interesting right here. Let me bring a white in. Let me bring a white in. It's easy to get rid of the, when I say get the white in, I look down and say black. Okay, so what do y'all know about her right here?
Wasn't she from Tennessee and then she died in Detroit?
Very brave.
She refused to get out of she refused to sit in the back of the bus, and basically became the face of the modern civil rights movement, right? So the back of the bus in Montgomery. So she was not Tennessee, but she was from Montgomery. I know later on she moved to Detroit, Michigan. I think that's where she eventually lived until she passed away.
So she was like the ignition for the segregation to end, right?
Yes.
Do we all agree? Kufu, do you agree with that? Do you agree that she was the one who ended segregation?
She's the one who ended it. I thought
I wouldn't say she ended it.
Yeah. She was a part of ending it. I would say that.
She was a catalyst.
Yeah.
For a national movement that, right? Yeah. Because she made, it was a national story at that point. It was this was a woman who refused to she's tired, right? She's coming off of work or whatever. She's on the bus. She's not going to get up and move to the back, and she got arrested for it. And so, right, I think that's what kind of pulled on America, and they said, hey, we got to switch this up.
Yeah,
Well,
boycotting buses and everything.
This Rosa Parks is a damn lie.
The deuce?
Austin, take over. Go ahead,
I know
Austin.
what you're saying. What do you mean?
Okay.
What's
So
the damn lie?
it's a damn lie, okay?
I know where
This story is a
almost been very
lie. Can't you
crazy.
see
Well,
what happened?
it's a good one if it is.
On December 1st, right? 1955. Rosa Parks, African American, arrested, refusing to move. Okay, we got the key points. Check out this story. Claudette Colvin is a pioneer of the 1950s civil rights movement and retired nurse aide. March 2nd, 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15 in Montgomery, Alabama for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus. So it wasn't her. Yeah, it was Claudette. So it was Claudette. They didn't pick Claudette because she had a kid out of wedlock. And back then, they didn't go for that. It was looked as like, you know, you're not responsible. You know what I'm saying?
So are you saying that the story of Rosa Parks was replaced by Rosa, or the story of Claudette Colvin was replaced by Rosa Parks because Rosa Parks had a better face?
Look, she had a better look, finer hair, and she also worked for the NAACP, Rosa Parks. So she was already connected with them.
I would believe. I don't know if that's true. I mean, it can be very well true. I would believe that. That's how psychological operations work. I would believe it. You know, I just would.
Yeah. So, I know we are running out of time, and folks, please out there, please like this video, share, subscribe. This has never happened before. Whites
ask time already.
What they need to ask. Blacks asking whites what they need to ask. It's never
ask a question.
Right, he didn't ask this question yet.
No, I get it. Who got to ask a question? Did you get to ask one, Kufu?
I already asked one.
You asked Anchor Babies and King. Did you ask a question already?
Oh, that's right.
You asked a question?
Yeah.
All right. So my question is, and this isn't like the first time I've asked a black person a question ever, but like recently. All right. So my thing when I'm walking, and this is all set up with how I feel about this. When I'm walking down the street and I see signs that say Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and I never used to see them. Right. So I'm 38. I never used to see that stuff walking down the street. And in fact, until recently, I felt things were going in the right direction. I felt things were moving the right way, slowly but surely, year after year. I felt like that. And now I start more and more Black Lives Matter. I see these things. And to me, I feel like I want to know to you, is that an empowering symbol or a disempowering symbol? How does that feel to you? When you see that as a black person in the United States, when you say Black Lives Matter, is that empowering or disempowering, or is it a mixture?
It disempowers me, and I believe it disempowers my community as well.
I don't like seeing it because I just want to. I feel I could go off on a tangent on this too, but when I see that, I'm like, that to me infers that if you have to say Black Lives Matter, to me that means that there are people out there that think that Black lives don't matter or something like that, or to just. And I understand them. I understand that there's a bigger meaning behind it, and there's a bigger movement behind it. But man, I just to me, I just think to myself, we need to be mentally beyond that right now. We really do.
Me, I look hold on, cool. I look at it a little bit different because it's like you got to look into it. So if Black Lives Matter, you know, when you look at the Black Lives Matter movement in itself, it's not even funded or made by a black people or black community. You know, it's made by white people, you know? So it's like, if Black Lives Matter that much, why the fuck you black motherfuckers could come together and make a Black Lives Matter movement? You know what I'm saying? That us black motherfuckers could really stand behind, you know? So it's like, it's disempowering, you know? Somebody else made it, and here you go following this shit blindly, you know? So that's my take on why I believe it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
So Kufu, do you feel, oh my bad, Joe. I'm putting
That's all right. we're all neighbors here. We live in very close proximity. And if something affects me, it's going to affect you. And if it affects you, it's going to affect me. And that's the way we have to feel about this, right? So how are we benefiting from this? And how is this going to move us into a better place is what I want to, if it is, it is. And if it's not, then let's fix it.
Okay. So look at it this way, right? So everything also said, King just said is true, right? But on the same side of that is like, what you also said kind of answered your own question at the same time, Joe. So when you said, are there people out there that believe that Black lives don't matter? Well, those people, there are people like that, and that's what they're saying with those signs, because they believe that their lives don't matter as a Black person. It's not just like it's a fad, or we're just all trying to get behind just one movement. No, there are people who literally think that our lives do not matter, and it's basically a toss and win.
So how about these two adolescent girls, these 15-year-olds that robbed this Uber driver just recently, right? So they tased the guy, and he's an Uber Eats driver, and they stole his car, and then they drove away, and he ended up dying. I know there's talk now that, okay, well, they're not going to try them as adults and stuff like that too. But this to me is sort of a microcosm of, as you're a kid, how do you, to do something like this, it almost would have to be like you don't have a thought in your head that your future is valuable, that you are a valuable person, that you have a future that is immeasurable. You can do anything you want in this country. And that, risks are very real, and that so I sometimes look at that and
not to cut you off, Joe, but you kind of answered the other part of that. Was what you're saying is you're answering your own question just by talking it out.
See, with that situation per se, that happened right down the street from here.
Yeah.
That happened right down the street from here, and not to justify it
right
or anything, not because I hate to justify it, but I try to give it, another point of view. It's like those kids, 13 and I believe 15. You got to believe where you were, or try to imagine, or if you have kids and think about where they are, like mentally at the age, like you really not even thinking about life or where the fuck you're trying to go. Not a typical 15, 13-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Or where you trying to go, or where, so that alone, it goes back to the parents, you know what I'm saying? For one, and if they even have parents, you know what I'm saying, doing that. So when it comes to them being trialed as an adult, I don't believe they should, like the 15 to life. I don't believe that, because that's not helping them kids. Not saying that it justified the man's death, but throwing them away for life is not. Them kids need help. Yeah, they do need to be punished, and they need to be punished fucking severely, but they need some type of fucking help.
Well, and it's got to help them too, because if you send somebody to the system, that system is not going to make them a better person when they come out. Typically, not the system, right? So. But how do we, like, when I was, I was thinking about when I was a kid too, like I always knew in the back of my head that I can do something, you know what I mean? Like I got away, I can do something. I was a fuck up as a kid too. Like I really could have not been sitting here for very long. You know what I mean? I got away by the skin of my teeth a lot of times, right? And I did some stupid ass shit. But kids these days, I think more than ever need to hear that we have a great future. You can do whatever you want here, and your life is super valuable. Your life is super valuable.
But that's why they say Black Lives Matter. But that's why I'm saying you answer your question when you say everything you're saying is why they say that your life doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So you kind of answer when you're saying that, you're kind of agreeing.
Black lives don't matter until it matters to blacks.
That's the problem.
You know what I'm saying? Like point blank, it don't matter until it start mattering to your damn self. So that's what you need to start running around saying with signs and shit. If anything, all lives matter, man. Like that's just keep creating more segregation. That is blue lives matter and green lives and rainbow lives. Like come on, man. Everybody, as people.
That's right.
Good people with a good person with genuine heart, you matter, man. Like point blank.
You know what? I have something interesting to say, but I've lost my thought. But let me bring this up real quick. And about those women. If they were white, they would have been buried under the jail. Those kids would have been buried under the jail because all this racism thing going on. Ooh, they lucky they wasn't white. Other blacks are getting away with murder these days. They're getting away with everything.
Now you just going.
Oh, hey, can I ask you a question?
In the eyes of the public.
You're going too far.
Hey, can I ask you a question? So, King, you brought up something earlier. You said that black people are very emotional, right? And so there's a lot of emotions and they run really high, which can be a very big positive, can be a very big detriment too, right? Because emotions polarize people. And the hardest people to control are people that are super balanced, that are centered. You can't push them one way or another by saying this or saying that or showing them this or showing them that. They're going to stay centered, right? Mm-hmm. So you feel that sometimes the black community's emotions are played against them for whatever reason, for clicks.
It is like that's everything we see every day. Social media, the news, like everything is put out there for us to have the mental that we have. You know, they put that on there. Look at the police brutality. It was a white man. It was a black man. And now we're going to put it. Look at the political. We're going to put a black man in president. Now there's a white man who you are. It's a agenda. You know what I'm saying? It's an agenda that my race just go right along with. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the problem, though, that I don't think. Now, here's the thing. The conversations we're having is more like we're just putting a Band-Aid on what's really going on. It really stems back from slavery. That's where our mentality comes from. Just even the police, how we view police, come from that, from slavery. So is that just a recent thing, or
but that's
just turning our emotions against us? Our emotions come from a trauma that happened to us a long time ago, and we just carrying it on. So and they see that.
How long do you carry it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long do you say, "Well, I hate you"? You know what I'm saying, for what you did to my great grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, how long do you hold on to that?
Well, it's like, for instance, you're right. But at the same time, if you're still getting hurt, I mean, you gotta. I mean, when is your wound going to heal? You know what I mean? If you're still, for instance, I mean, he's saying there's no racism, but I mean, racism is just evolved into a point where it's so subconscious in the psyche of America that people just don't notice it, that they're doing it. But it's when we catch it and we like, okay, we point it out. It's like, well, it's not really happening. That's not really what's going on. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying it's for every instance, but for the majority, that's when we point it out, it happens.
In my experience too, it's a worldwide human phenomenon. So
yeah,
case in point is Asia. If you've ever been to Asia, you'll realize Asia is probably the most racist place on the planet against all other Asians, against white people, black people, Muslims. It's just, and what do you call racism? Is it prejudice? Is it a thought process? Is it just what you grew up with? Is it just how you pitch out with people?
Learned behavior.
I mean, do you really feel that your race is superior or not? How is it? Is it your tribalism? Because people are kind of tribal anyways. It just is what it is. But man, it doesn't exist to lots of us. It doesn't exist. That's why my motto always been, and it hasn't always been this way, but my experience throughout 38 years in existence, man, I walk down the street, you're my friend until you prove me otherwise. And that changes my perspective. It changes my perspective of everybody. When I talk to people, black, white, Asian, Mexican, I a lot of times get a very friendly person on the other end, and someone laughs at me and jokes with me and wishes me a good day. And that's all that I want. And it's just, that's it. And a lot of places on the planet don't have that. No other country out there is as mixed as we are and has the challenges that we do with the amount of communities that we have. And not only that, the challenges of the media telling us that we all need to be enemies. That right there is a huge challenge to overcome for most people. That's why I think that JP, like us here right now, is more important than we may even give it credit for.
I agree.
Just having conversations with each other.
I agree.
You're a cool dude, Joe.
Yeah, likewise, man. I'm happy that you guys invited me on. This is epic. And thank you.
This was beautiful, man. And for all the people out there, all 7 of you motherfuckers right now, just to catch y'all right now, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. I mean, it helps us out like this. You gotta help us out. Come on, man. Give it to me. All right. Hey, with that being said, everyone, we are way over time. I mean, oh my goodness, I never did. I had to do so much editing. You guys are killing me. Oh my gosh. But loved every bit of it. We are we are uniting the people with the facts. Okay? With the facts. We just proved that we can get along and that nothing can stop you from doing anything that you can. So get out of that race hustler mentality while they living high on a hog and you just listening to all their messages going along with it while you going home and can't even pay your bill. Okay? Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, all the race hustlers. Okay? They're out there. Be aware. And it's all about family. It's all about family. It's all about the family.
That's super important.
Mm-hmm.
What race has the most single mothers? 75% among the African American, 59 Spanish second. Oh, no wonder they want them in here. 38% white. Look at that. It's an attack on. Look, the families are falling apart. We got to get it right. We have to get the families right. And before we close out, we leave out with some information. You guys have to stop calling yourself minorities. We are not no minorities, okay? Do not go along with that, okay? Please, all the blacks out there, when you say, oh, yeah, you're the minority, please don't go for that, okay? Okay. Remember, every definition has a mirror, so we got two.
I like that.
The state or period of being under the age of full legal responsibility. You can't do shit.
That's minor.
You can't do a goddamn thing. You can't do nothing by yourself. You need help.
Yeah.
You need help. So how you know which definition they using on it? They ain't gonna say, oh, by the way, blacks, we're gonna use the number one definition for you. Hell no, the whole word is disgraceful. All right, that's just some information for you. Hey, we're gonna close out right now. We packed a lot of info in there today. Hey man, let me hit you with a little bit of this. It's something that I do on the side. If you want some lessons, come holler at me.
JP's Total Texas.
That's why I come every week, man. It's worth it. It's all worth it.
Back at you. Thank you for joining us, man. We had a beautiful time tonight, Jack. I mean, the whites showed up. I had a couple of other white people that showed up, but they ran out on me. It's all good. I get them later. It's all love, okay? It's all love, baby. It's all love. Much love to the whites, to the blacks, to the Spanish, to the Asians. Everybody out there, much love to you. As much as you love yourself, then I know you're gonna treat me right. There's decent ones and there's some ones that's evil. Okay, I don't want to associate with them. I like the decent ones because I'm the decent one too. All right. Hey man, thank you very much. JPTV, believe it or don't.